there's work being done, and some people go through the circumstances that naturally much stability. Another demo that we did yesterday with this company within the planet, which isn't new. There's a guy within the planet who's considered to be the world's first cyber back from the wild have an implant in his brain. It's trying to tell us control, you know, have a brain. But again, that is another equation of heaven and hell, right? This idea of can we control the circumstances a little bit better. So for some of us, we'll look at a situation like that as like, fuck 2020, right? Man, they taking people's brains and then they're going to control people and then possibility. The other side of the coin, here's a way to get people who are unable to walk. Let's just say Jacob, who may be paralyzed from the waist down, right? There's work being done to potentially and maybe potentially reverse that. I went to Caltech, so I didn't go to Caltech. I was invited to Caltech, and I went to Caltech, and I was able to meet with many people in many different departments. And one of the departments was focused on basically exoskeleton, cybernetic, etc. And they already have machines that are able to put people, that make people who've never been able to walk able to walk. There's surgery that needs to occur, things that they have to respond, make people are able to walk, or this person to do. But here's this technology being done within 2020 as well that will take situations where people are unable to walk, or unable to hear, or unable to see, or unable to talk, or unable, all these different ways. That can actually give them those natural capacities back. And it is that balance. That yes, there are these potentials, but then there's also these other things. So let's own the whole thing. Now is not the time to despair. As things go, things come, and it's a constant cycle. Right? In China right now, it's not as if coronavirus never happened, but they're balling. I mean, they're just not balling, but their life is somewhat normal to a degree, because they were able to align, and the government was able to do certain things. They did some horrific. It came at a cost. Again, it came at a hell for people. Literally can't leave your house. They lock your door from the outside. You can't leave. They come and drop food too, and you're in your house for months. On the other side of that, when those months subside, people are able to go back at least to a certain normality of their life, to back to a certain heaven, going through hell, through heaven. Even in that story, he shows him hell first, then he shows him heaven. The process of struggle, suffering, get to a better place, buried into Martin Luther King, brings you through the hell. But even when you get to that heaven, know that hell is coming right around the corner, right? In times of peace, the warrior practices for war, prepares for war. In times of war, the warrior prepares for peace. That is this balance. So, don't despair. Do the work. Embrace it. Embrace it. Embrace that. Embrace those things. And that is a guide, is a pathway to coming out the other side. So I would say don't despair. Don't say fuck 2020. Because in 2019, people were dying. People were suffering. things were happening. In 2018, people were dying, things were suffering. And even on our side, there's the quote of that's going around that your black friends are tired. I don't think you should be tired. I think you should be 100% energized and hopeful and working and moving toward. And don't think that this is a one-sided thing, right? There are people that are suffering all over. There are people that are losing people all over. Even the people that we hate, right? The people that are dead set against them are catching ills, right? On their side as well. And if the hell is a universal heaven, and the heaven is a universal heaven. It may be experienced at different times for different folks, but it is consistent. It's one of those things that you can bet on. And that even as things as great and grand and as immovable as Bill Cosby's R. Kelly, or Jerry Falwell, or what's his name? Fox News, right? It's things that you look impenetrable, and their times have come. Their heavens are done, and they're experiencing their hells. Right? And in their hells, they'll still find there's still a heaven to come. There's still that part of the equation back, which may only be if they can recognize it. Right? There's an opportunity for them to experience it like another heaven, just in a different capacity. So I would say don't despair, ladies and gentlemen. Let's beat COVID-19. Right? Let's hunker down and push this out. Recognize what it is. Do the things that we need to do. Stop trying to run from the work. Run into the work. I'm surprised that the work isn't as hard. Work is what we find is certain work. Some work is hard as shit. But most work is very easy to really lean into it. Remove the distractions. Focus on the truth of what you're there to do. That you're doing it because you want to do it. Not that you're doing it on behalf of someone else. But do the work that you are built to do. And things become very much so a heaven. Even in the face of it. So that's my story. I hope you enjoyed it. Well, some clarity to some of that I don't say from. As a matter of fact, it's not even 2020. I always kind of got to remind myself that in some calendars it's 5,267. Another calendar is like 8,209. This calendar over here is all arbitrary. But what is not arbitrary is the events that are happening within it. But those events have always happened, and they will continue. Right? Always. Our heroes will be taken from us, but our heroes, again, our heroes that die well, yes, they're physically dead, right? And everybody's body is dying. And we will die in ways that are unexpected, expected. Some of us in decrepit states, some of us in accidents, some of us in crisis situations, some of us in very lovingly, very easy, nod-off situations, and will go peacefully into the night. Some of us, our deaths will be extremely violent and extremely terrifying in those moments where we are dying. That's always happening. And it will always happen. It's not about that. Even our heroes died. Our heroes, because they lived a life so cool that it's as if still here. Their works have become automated, right? Their works have become so endemic to the world, right? Their visuals, their words, the memes that they created, the books that they wrote, the stories that they told, the costumes that they wore. They'll still be. And not in a psycho-spiritual, get the crystals out, heal my chakras type way. But in a very literal way, parse out what life is, what a product of life is, our words, our actions. And when your actions and your words and your thoughts become objects, that object is very hard to kill. It can erode, it can be misplaced, it can be taken out of public view, but it's very hard to kill. That's the law of thermodynamics. Nothing ever really is destroyed. It's just transferred to something else. So don't despair, my good friends. But for you all who don't know what I'm talking about, welcome to hell, baby. So, any questions, comments, concerns? Was it 21 Bridges? 21 Bridges. It was cool. It was cool after the first, like, 10 minutes. It took them like 10 minutes to really get it together. Kind of like, what was that other movie? American Hustle? Was it American Hustle? Like, American Hustle took like 30 minutes. Like, we was literally sitting in the theater about the movie. It was like, oh my God, what have we stepped into? But after that 30-minute mark, once they were able to introduce all the characters and the story going, I was like, oh, this is shit. Oh, this is shit. I don't know if I can sit through 30 minutes again. But when it crossed that point where all the characters and the story was introduced, I was like, this shit is kind of cold. And I felt the same thing about 21 Bridges. Was it 5 Bridges or 21 Bridges? 21 Bridges. The same way I felt about 21 Bridges. When it took a little time to get there, but once it got clicking, he was able to get into his shit. The shit was his shit. Had a great story. Yeah, 21 Bridges was in New York. What do you think about the NBA players folding after 2 days? They didn't fold. Okay, that's what you can't. That's what you can't say about them. They didn't fold because you can't fold when you do it to yourself. Right? They made that decision. Right? And like I said, I always felt like when I still stand behind what I said the other day, even with me and you, Mr. Legacy Jones, our conversation that we had about the stadiums and all this other kind of stuff. I think that it is best for them to be on national television, to play the game, to make the money, to be that voice, to be amongst and weaving the narrative, right? To impress upon the children of the racists who love LeBron James, right? For them to see him speak and talk and act, right? Not to be in the shadows, to show black excellence, even in sports or in rap or in whatever you're doing. If you're pushing positive narrative, if you're not, you can move the fuck out the way. But if you are, then this isn't the time to not be seen, right? So I don't look at it as them folding. I think they sent the message that they needed to send, that, and this is the message, that we will shut this down, and we can. And sometimes that's all you need to do, right? You don't need to, again, even with the Montgomery bus boycotts, right? The Montgomery bus boycotts. Niggas didn't stop taking the bus. They got their own buses. No, we're chasing wrong because people are saying folding. Like, that's kind of language that's kind of going around. But yeah, in the Montgomery boycott and the Montgomery bus boycotts, people didn't stop taking the bus. They got their own buses. They carpooled. And they did it for a year, I think 5 days or something like that. I forgot how long the Montgomery bus boycott lasted. Um, so they stopped taking their buses. They stopped taking segregated buses. So they still got to work, right? Um, so still understanding that it's an alternative models, but you don't stop taking the bus, right? You still got to get to where you need to be. You still need to go to work. You still need to go to that job, to pay that money, get that money to feed your family, right? And to be a part of that economic machine, right? Now, if there was a general strike, people stopped going to work. Think of those Memphis, I don't think they did. Those Memphis sanitation workers who Martin Luther King went to go speak to, and where he died. They were like, we want to strike. There's no garbage. No. I'm picking up none of your trash. And I will also remind you, people that say they need to start their own league. They'll still be playing basketball, which was invented by a white man. You'll never be able to escape the benefits that we provide to each other. Our co-realities, our cohabitations. If we're allowed to participate, everybody rises. Right? Everybody rises. The person who invented it, the people who hate us, the people who love us, everybody rises. Right? And we're able to participate. And on the other side, we rise. It's about rising. It's what it's about. It's about making things more efficient, making things more valuable. Now, man, shout out to Mr. Legacy Jones, Soccer Union, shout Jill Rose, Pistol Pixie, Reef, Smokey the Ghost, our resident panel of experts here at the is the hip hop police real? Yes, the hip hop police are real in New York. I remember one time we were in New York for a concert, and these bitch niggas, actually they cool, but they was hoes for this. They mistaked. We were leaving, broke no laws. The search was 1,000% illegal, but my fucking shack. They pulled over my van leaving the concert because I think they thought Little Durk came to my show after his show. He was in New York at the same time, and so they followed the van, pulled us over, and then searched the van. And it was the dude it's like the hip hop police dude. And I was telling them, like, my whole family's law enforcement. Do what you need to do. There's nothing there, right? Even if it was, this search is wild illegal. And like I know this search, but sitting there talking to them, like, yeah, I'll get out the van, sure, because you got the guns. So we're gonna get out the van, right? But the reason that they got out of the van is a Shaq, you son of a bitch. Well, yeah, let me take that back. Shaq, you punk motherfucker. Shaq ass. Young little Shaq. Big security. This motherfucker Shaq. They asked Shaq for his license because he's driving. Shaq ass hands them his FOI card, which is a gun card, right? Which is neither here nor there. It just shows that you're legally, in Illinois, we have to have a FOI card issued by the Illinois State Police, where it gives you, you can't just, like in different places, California, you can just go in with your license or your state ID and buy guns. In Chicago and Illinois, you can't do that. You gotta have well, in Chicago, I don't think you can do that shit at all, but in Illinois, you gotta have this separate card called a FOI, where you're able to go and firearms owner identification, whatever the fuck, I don't even know what that is, what it means. But you gotta have this separate card, and it looks like a license, has your picture on it, the whole thing, and but it's not specifically for guns. So Shaq ass hands these niggas his FOID card. I don't know if he I thought it was my license. I don't know what the fuck he was trying to do. We clowned this nigga for weeks after this happened. But because he did that, it made them, I guess, think, oh, he's trying to prove that he's got a gun or some shit like that, because you're not allowed to carry guns no matter where you're from in the city of New York. You have to like hide that shit in the bushes, or like, you know, whatever, find somebody to give it to, or before you come into the city limits, because you can't have guns in New York. Or I guess in that county, I don't know how it works. But anyway, we didn't have any guns. We never traveled with, well, we might not travel with guns. Pull up and find out, nigga. But that's how we didn't have any guns, right? And even though Shaq showed him that, it was still legal. It isn't like he's showing you a proof of his illegal weapons. But for them, I guess it gave them a certain edge. Like, yo, man, these niggas buying some guns in here. And so we all got out the car, sitting there talking to him. And I tell him, like, you know, my sister's fucking homicide detective, my brother this, but even with all that said, I'm not Little Dirk. And at the other side of the equation, this whole search is illegal. Like, you have no probable cause. From the time you stopped us, you have no reason to pull us over. We didn't run any lights. We didn't do anything. And as much as you think that you're dealing with a goofy ass nigga, you'll be getting calls from people who you've never got calls before in your fucking life. Right? But we didn't even have to go there. It wasn't even that confrontational. But it was that situation where it was like, yeah, even with all of this said, nigga, you could find 1,000 pounds of cocaine in this car right now. All that shit is getting thrown out. Probable cause, nigga. You have none. But that just shows you, you know, the hip hop police. They do exist, and it was the dude who pops up as the hip hop police when you watch Vlad or some shit like that. It was the same dude. There was a bunch of officers there. I'm looking at them like, y'all. And I told him, I was like, y'all know it's somebody getting robbed right now, somewhere in New York. Somebody getting raped and robbed and shot, unfortunately, or stabbed, or there's a domestic violence call. You niggas is out here doing this goofy shit with 8 cars and all of this other stupid shit. This isn't even Dirk's van. Like, where's your surveillance team? Like, who's actually watching shit? You niggas just posting up like y'all. It was the stupidest shit I've ever seen. So as much as the hip hop police do exist, you know, if you're on your shit, they're just there to really instigate, and they think that all rappers run with dirty niggas, so they might luck up on somebody with a warrant or somebody with this. But if somebody's in your crew and they're dirty or they have a warrant, don't travel with them. Especially to New York. Leave them niggas in New Jersey. Leave them in Philadelphia before you even get into the state. And just chill. Let them chill out in some hotel, and then on the way back, pick them niggas up. Because the hip hop police will look at rapper caravans, and if you got a guy who has a warrant or has some type of record or whatever the fuck, they really do that knowing that if we roll the dice, we're gonna find somebody in here, you know, or some shit like that. They're gonna find some weed or some stupid shit. But travel clean as you possibly can. I understand that when you're going into certain localities and municipalities, that they have there's a target on your back for that Sprinter van with the rappers in it who just left the club. These niggas will follow you. So take that into consideration. You know? What's up, Tony Baker? What's the question? Lupe, would you do an interview with Vlad TV? Absolutely not. I think Vlad, and I have my issues with Vlad, some personal, some professional with Vlad, and his crew. If it's not him, it's the people that work for him, whoever the fuck, but he's the leader. His name is on the shit, so he takes the responsibility for it. Vlad has done some fuckboy shit to me, and he's done some fuckboy shit to other dudes in space. But I really do think Vlad is the police. As a person with police in my family, I really believe that Vlad is the police. and either is being paid by the police or is working with the police in some capacity, he's an asset. Even if he's even if it's not that, unconsciously he's an asset for the police. I spoke on this. Did I speak on this the other day? I didn't, but I'll just, for y'all that don't know, police departments have social media departments. Well, all they do is watch social media. That's how they police. They police through social media. So they'll watch accounts. They're following you. They're in there commenting, yeah, show us the pistol. And your stupid ass like, yeah, I'm going to show they want to see this money. Right? They got the whole shit. You think that you're entertaining young white kids in Nebraska who want to be gangsters or niggas who live on the next block. And you're entertaining Sergeant Commando down at Precinct 4. And that's the nigga who's commenting on your fucking page.
That's hilarious.
Again, being an unconscious asset to the police. And I think that Vlad plays that role. And I think he's incentivized because his platform makes a lot of money. And those are the stories that people want to hear, right? They want to hear the salacious bullshit. They want to see, people are fascinated with crime and people breaking the law, and they want to live vicariously through that. And I think the police recognize that, and that they're watching his channel, right? And they're looking for dudes. And it may be that the dudes on it, hopefully they're smart enough, if they're actually actively being criminals, they're smart enough to know what to tell Vlad and what not to. Give him a little bit of bullshit, give him a little bit of kind of the truth. Talk about their old cases that they already beat, you know, because you can be a serial killer, murder a bunch of motherfuckers, write a book, and tell your story and make money, right? Unless it's an injunction on you being able to do that to profit off of your crime. Because there's the things like that. But some cases, when you serve your time and you get out, man, you could write the book, sell the movie rights, do the story, all kinds of shit. But all the goofy shit you didn't get. Frank Lucas, for example, different folks who profit off their crimes in a legal capacity. So hopefully they have the cognizance and understanding that the feds might be watching or the police might be watching, but they're not saying anything that's going, because they got to have evidence. You can't just have the story. Like, you can't say, man, I shot 12 niggas, right? And they're going to be like, well, you know, where's the guns? Who did you shoot? Where's the murders? They got to corroborate it. They got to find the weapon. They got to do all that shit to do that case. And they just like, you know what? We'd rather focus on cases where we actually got a gun, we actually got a body, and we just need to look for someone. And then but niggas will and can incriminate themselves and build a narrative to give the police, who may not have been thinking that way, to think about it like, oh shit, I didn't even know that they was doing that shit, right? Or we think that things just need to happen overnight. The police will sit on you for years, especially the feds. The feds will sit on you for years until they get everything that they need. And normally the feds don't come until the case is already beat. They're coming to you for a deal. Like, look, nigga, we already got you dead to rights. Do you want to take this 100 years, or do you want to take this 20 years, or this 4 years, or whatever? And it might not even be that you have to snitch, right? It might not even be that. It might be another way to work out the deal, where you cooperate in some other manner, or whatever the deal you work out with your lawyer, using case law or other crimes or pre-existing things, and blah, 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 blah. There's ways to game it, to beat it up. But at the same time, too, you know, I would never, ever do an interview with Black, right? I would, and this goes back to the things that I said to Joe Budden. I'd rather a black man do it to me than a white man do it to me. I'd rather, in the state of affairs in which we live, that's just what my mentality is. Because the black nigga gonna do it to you too. He's gonna get you in front of the camera to talk about crime and talk about shit you did and talk about this and talk about that. But I'd rather a black man get that ad dollar and that money than a white man that's gonna do the same thing. So for me, it's that dichotomy at this stage of the game, right? I'd rather have a black Vlad profiting off the crime stories and the criminal ethics, right? And a lot of those stories, there is some redemption. There is guys who get on there and this is what they feel is their Say Cheese is it Say Cheese? I mean, Zach TV was like that. Rest in peace. There were a few dudes like that who, yes, they're telling the gritty, grimy story of the street. They're interviewing the dudes who have done it or did it or whatever. But I would rather them profit off of that shit than a white dude profit off black on black crime and black violence, black criminality. Because I could at least trust a black dude who's doing it, that he has a much closer responsibility and interface to that world where it's in his best interest to report on these things, to decrease the amount of activity like that in his community, right? That he can be held to task by his community. And when he gets those YouTube ad dollars, that he's taking it to fund the basketball team or fund some type or give the money to his homie to keep him out the streets versus I don't who knows what the fuck Vlad is doing with that shit, right? So that's my mentality. That's my thought process with Vlad. It isn't just this superficial, oh, he's the feds. It isn't that. It is that these stories will get told. Who would I rather trust this story to? And who really needs to be responsible for handling these stories? And who has a direct connection to the neighborhood and the streets in which these stories come from? And it's not fucking Vlad. Right? And as much as I would love for people to not have to tell these stories, right? That they're not looked at as opportunities to promote violence or criminality in the streets, because it just makes it worse for us on the other side when we have issues like Jacob Blake and the police mentality, the way that the law is broken, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I would rather that not be the case, right? Because it's double jeopardy for us, right? We kill our own communities and then we wind up, causing. If it's not us that get caught, the police are going to catch someone. They might not catch the nigga who's actually doing it, but they're going to catch the nigga who look like he the nigga who's going to be doing it, right? Where a real criminal nigga who actually had a bunch of guns in the car, he's just going to sit there and like say nothing. But the nigga who don't, who just feels entitled to say whatever the fuck he wants because the police actually got him in the wrong, he's going to wild out, and that's the nigga that's the going to get shot. And that's the nigga that's going to be protesting for and doing goofy shit like that. So, that's my piece on Vlad. And Vlad knows this shit. Like I told Vlad to not even report on my shit. Like even if I got an album out, don't even promote my shit because I don't want you to even twist my words or put up a headline that calls bullshit. Just please pretend like I don't exist. I'll find a way to get to the audience that you speak to or not. Like I'm cool. I don't need that. Right? The same way I would on the flip side, I did an interview with Bill O'Reilly, right? On the way on the other side, just to prove this nigga wrong, right? Had this nigga in there defending Obama. Wasn't that shit crazy? He's like, come on, now Obama ain't that bad. I was like, what? I got him to say it. Victory for Team Black Side or some shit like that. But again, Vlad is only as strong and relevant as the niggas who go up there and talk to him. And eventually, every nigga that goes up there and talks to him realizes, or first, genuinely, some of the niggas who go up there and talk to him ain't shit off top. And I always say this: criminals ain't shit. That side of the world, when we're in that side of the world, nigga, we ain't shit. Don't get it fucked up. Don't cry for us. Don't have that empathy and sympathy for us. All that shit, nigga. Like just. Put some money on my books and keep and etc. But nigga, please don't build me up to be motherfucking Martin Luther King, my nigga. Like, there has to be a certain limit. Realize that these the same niggas that'll put your bitch ass in the trunk. So, but even with that said, people who do go up there, you see it. People start to realize like, oh, this nigga ain't really. Oh shit, that shit ain't really that cool, is it? Like, no, nigga, it's not. I'll be asking Lupe the good question. Shout out to Tony Becker, y'all, the big homie. Like, anyway, that's enough of that. No, it's not funeral parlor. It's this ain't no funeral home. It ain't the Terror Dome either. That's one of the greatest moments in the history of film, Jack. When the mom opened up them caskets, it was like, that nigga said, this ain't no funeral home. 20 points if you know what that's from. In light of Chad, any thoughts on young star athletes prioritizing attending HBCUs? Um, we talked about this before, and my advice is very open, right? I don't have a certain. I didn't go to college, so I don't have a bias towards any uh, institution of higher learning, as they might want to call it. But what I would say to you is, uh, go where you're going to benefit the most, where you're going to maximize your skills. If you're going to be a basketball player and that's what you're going to be, and you know you like fuck school, then go to the place that will maximize your skill set as a basketball player. On the other side of the equation, whether you're black, white, Mexican, Hawaiian, whatever that is, football player, whatever it is, go to where you feel that the program is sufficient to maximize your skill set, to optimize your skill set, where you can be around the coaches and the staff and the team and the trainers and the whole shit that's going to put you in a position to be the best basketball player, best football player you can be, if that's your goal in life, right? Because a degree, you better get a degree from this school and that school. The degree is only as good as what you're going to do with it, right? At that on that part. So unless you're going to Harvard or something crazy, where it's really just about the network and the status symbol that is and the doors that open. But if we're not talking about Ivy League shit and you're just talking about the general kind of schools, top 50, top 100 schools in the nation, then you need to go based on what you're trying to maximize in. Like if you want to be a great actor or a great actress, then you go to a school that has the best acting program. You don't go to a school that has an acting program with all this extra shit. You go to the school that has the acting program that's going to maximize you as an actor or an actress. So my advice is to that. Now, I know there's some people who really, really push the idea of historically black colleges, universities, and I'm with that. If you're just in terms of like general intelligence, you know, like Howard has a great medical program or has a great whatever, right? So it has specific things that it's very good at, you're competing. In terms of the intensity of the curriculum, the merit and the effectiveness of the teachers and the program and stuff like that, and then how that program actually feeds into the career that you're trying to get. And there's HBCUs that have that. There's HBCUs, historically black colleges that don't have those credentials, right? It is just a general school with different departments that do different things, right? But it isn't necessarily specialized in one field or another. Same thing with regular colleges, right? They don't have a certain specificity or a certain optimization in a certain department or a certain place. They don't have the great business school, right? Or they don't have the world-renowned culinary program or whatever the fuck it is. And if that's what you're trying to do in life and you know that, like I'm 18 years old and this is what I want to do, then you go to the place that gives you that at the maximum, right? And I know there's tons of people who focus on HBCUs for everything other than education, right? I get it. Cultural this, financial this, economic power this, educational base that, blah, 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 blah. But we're not talking about that, right? They're talking about very much so if you're a basketball player, right? And you want to go to the best basketball program in the country, it may or may not at the time be a historically black college. And you as an athlete, don't fuck what Lupe Fiasco has to say. Fuck what the dude just said on my on my Instagram comments. Fuck what Tony Baker has to say. That's your life. That's your craft, your love, your talent. All of you rolling the dice up to that point where you're actually sitting at the precipice of getting a basketball scholarship or getting that it really is you beat the millions of kids in grade school, high school, etc., and you're competitive and you're competing at that level and you want to go into the next dimension. You actually have NBA potential or CBA potential or WNBA potential or European basketball potential, Israeli basketball leagues, whatever the fuck it is. And you want to that's what you're going to do for the rest of your life, until your knees give out or whatever the fuck, then do that. Do what you feel is best, right? But be able to turn around and explain that. Say, like, look, and people do, and you can't get mad at them for doing that, right? Like, I want to go where I can get the best program possible to be the best that I can become. And I don't want race, and I don't want kind of other aspects which I fully intellectually don't even understand. Even me, Lupe Fiasco, doesn't fully intellectually understand certain capacities of schools outside of the educational framework. But again, I did not go to college. Okay? I didn't go to college. All right? So I don't have a bias towards the effectiveness of universities and stuff like that. I knew when I go to college now, I go to Yale. So I just watch all the Yale lectures that are free and available online, and I go to MIT, and I go to different places, but online and on YouTube. So I'm YouTube University, but I choose to go to MIT, Yale, Stanford, stuff like that. But for the folks on the ground, go where you feel is best to maximize as an athlete. And they said athlete, not just if you're just generally into education, you just want to go to school and get a degree in communication or get a degree in whatever. Then and you're not really interested in a specific thing, and a historically black college is there, and they're giving you a scholarship or they're giving you some type of financial benefit, or you want to move to Georgia, you want to move to the South or wherever the fuck it is, and you want to be a part of that cultural tradition and expanding that and blah, 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 then do it, right? Do it. That should be your first set of choices, right? But if you're not just a general practitioner of education and you're actually going for a very specific thing, say it be chemical engineering or law or something like that, then I think you need to expand your horizon to beyond just the cultural ramifications of a specific educational unit. That's what I would say, right? Don't fuck yourself trying to be black. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to do that. You already black. You good. You don't need to go to a HSBCU to be more black. My nigga, if you was born black, you good. You ain't got to march. You ain't got to get a fucking kente cloth kufi. You ain't got to wear dashiki, nigga. You don't even have to go to the library and get autobiography from Malcolm X. Nigga, you're good. You black, you good. You ain't got to keep doing all this extra shit to prove that you black to some niggas who don't even give a fuck, right? With that said, don't get caught into that trap, right? Discounting your potential for the sake of trying to be black. Because once you get out of Howard, niggas are not going to give a fuck when you get out of Howard if you went to Howard or not. Unless only to motherfuckers who went to Howard. The nigga in Walmart does not give a fuck. He was like, oh yeah, I went to Illinois State. Oh yeah, I went to Howard. You're like, oh yeah, okay. You don't need that home breed like that shit. Trust me, bro. Go to wherever the fuck you feel you need to go to get the highest level of education optimized around your specific wants in life, and rock out like that, right? But for those folks who are very specific and again pointed at what they want to do, but you folks who have no idea what the fuck you want to do, and you're just interested in the general education and you're going to figure it out when you get to school type shit, then yes, go to HSBCU. And then once you go through that, make the cultural decision. Have fun. And then after that, if you feel like, oh, I want to refine this thing, then you'll find yourself going to a master's program or a postgraduate program somewhere else anyway, right? To really get the fine tuning and fine training, a different business. You might go to Wharton, or you might go to the School of Business Management, or at what is it? University of Chicago or University of Illinois, whatever it is. You might find yourself in a postgraduate situation anyway. And the HSBCU was just meant to historically black colleges and universities, whatever. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. And that may just be your foundation from a cultural standpoint. And then once you get that foundation from a cultural standpoint, you're creating more of that allegiance, producing more and more graduates from the HSBCUs. You want to refine that communications degree or get that business degree, which the Wharton is crushing, in terms of business management and on ramps to career. They're crushing HSBCU, like destroying that shit. Like you wouldn't even think about the shit, but they're also crushing everything else. They're crushing Temple, and they're crushing fucking Xavier, and they're crushing fucking Alabama State and Texas A&M, destroying that shit. You're gonna find a program that's gonna refine at the highest levels of what you want to do. So there's also that opportunity. Like yes, do your bachelor's at a HSBCU, but then when you're interested in your master's or your PhD or your doctorate, if you can stay in school that fucking long, it might behoove you to find a more concentrated, more focused program. But as an athlete, go to where you feel you need to go in those first few years to make yourself the best athlete you can possibly be. Alright? And it may or may not be at HSBC. Historically Black Schools College. HSBC? That's the bank, right? Yeah, Historically Black College and University, HBC. Yeah, HSBC is a bank, bitch. I just said, get off my back. Keep pressing that like that's the moral of the story. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. Thoughts on Jacob Blake being handcuffed to the hospital bed is fucked up. Is what it is, Mikey. Especially if he's paralyzed. Where the fuck is he gonna go? But to the police's credit, it is true that if you're under arrest, they're gonna handcuff you to that fucking bed. That's just their protocol. You could be shot, you could be stabbed, you could be whatever the fuck. You go in there and see one of your homies. They might, in some cases, they might not even let you go see them because they are under arrest. People leave prison to go to surgery. They'll take them to a hospital, like whatever correctional facility, and then niggas will be handcuffed the whole fucking time, right? They might not be handcuffed during surgery, but in those moments they will be handcuffed. So it isn't something that's like out the norm. It's just insensitive knowing the narrative that's in the space right now, right? People are unaware of what he did, what the story is. Nobody knows anything about Jacob Blake at this point, other than he was shot in the back. He was walking to his car. But we don't know what the fight was about. We don't know why he was there. We don't know why he got arrested. That shit is still like, and the police are kind of throwing out little hints that I don't even want to repeat. But they're throwing out shit where it's like, he had a warrant. Like, oh shit, you know that? When the fuck was y'all gonna tell us that? Right? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it is police protocol for Black, white, Mexican, whoever the fuck you are. If you're under arrest, and you're being charged with a crime, and you're in a hospital, they will lock your ass up. They will shackle you to the bed. That's just what it is. It's just insensitive in this case because of the wider narrative and because of his physical condition. But there are motherfuckers who are shot. They'll put handcuffs on a dead man, right? At the scene. Like if they kill a motherfucker, they will still handcuff the body in certain situations. Even if you're sitting there shot and bleeding out, they'll put handcuffs on you because there is an understanding that the human beings are still capable of putting. It's fucked up. Human beings, even shot, wounded, are even more dangerous because there's a certain desperation, and they still might have a gun, they still might have weapons, they still might have whatever. But it's even when you think about to the extremes, there's cases where police will handcuff a dead body, like that body's dead. They'll put handcuffs on that motherfucker because you never know. He might not be dead. He might just jump up. And y'all seen that thing where they tased the dude? They tased him. That motherfucker was like, ah. Stop beating up the motherfucking police. He was acting the whole time. Fuck these niggas up.
Oh, that's funny as shit.
So there's that aspect of it. So I wouldn't, me personally, I wouldn't get mad at that really deeply. I would still focus on what's the whole story, right? We want the whole story. The cuffing him to the bed shit is normal police protocol that may be abnormal in the state, but it's actually not abnormal at all. Like they'll do that shit to a dead body, right? The dead body, they're dead with handcuffs on it. right? Just to secure the scene, to secure the body. That's just part of their protocol. Does every police station do that? Probably not. There's some motherfucker like, man, take them cuffs off that body. Nigga, what the fuck is wrong with you? But other folks, they never know. You're not pronounced. You can be pronounced dead at the scene, but it does require some type of medical situation because the motherfucker will get up, right? So I wouldn't get mad at that part. I would still stay focused on the whole story. Okay, that's just Wasu Jaco's opinion. But again, they took the cops. They took the cuffs. They took the cuffs off of him. So that was good. But the reason that they said that they took the cuffs off of him because he had a bond. So it wasn't that they took the cuffs off out of sensitivity. They took the cuffs off him because they had a bond and he was no longer under arrest. Just to reiterate that part. How many white women they handcuff after they execute? I would just tell you this, Ashley. We're not white, and you're just opening yourself up to a continuous. Well, what about? By constantly comparing yourself to how they treat white folks. I'm sure that they cuff white dead bodies too. Like, I don't think they just reserve that for black people. And in certain cases, they don't handcuff the body at all. But it is protocol, whether you're white, black, Mexican, whatever the fuck. You could be sitting there with a bullet in your head and an axe in your fucking back, handcuffed to the fucking bed or handcuffed to the wall. Like, that's just part of the program. But the constant, like, well, did they do that for white people? I don't fucking know. Doesn't matter. Right? I'm not white. Actually, I'm not under arrest. There's a certain where you kind of gotta push yourself away from the emotional trigger so you can focus on the information of the circumstance at hand. And you're not in that situation, right? You're not white, so they're not going to treat you like that. And in some cases, you know it's racist. They're going to treat white people differently. But in the same cases, you better believe the police will beat the dog shit out of a white boy. It may not be on because you saw a tape where they let this one nigga go and they shot this nigga or they tricked this one nigga and did that to one nigga. There's a bunch of shit. I've seen a tape where the white girl was running and they tased her. She got hit and just split her shit. She fell and hit the ground and just bust her shit. She was white. You know, you better believe white boys get their shit tore off too by the police. It isn't just black shit.
What do you want there? What do you want?
But you should be mad at all of that, right? Want? That's the thing. You should be mad at it all, right? When it happens to a white person, happens to a black person, and even if it's a situation where, in the moment where you don't know what this person is being convicted of, or what they're being charged with, or what the crime is, because you never know. The camera starts filming once the police get there. You don't know what the fuck happened before it happened, right? And you know, there's video. This is the other funky part. There's video where it's not police video. It's like people, and there's no police at all. And you see you see two niggas. I saw this video the other day. It was fucked up. I guess one dude had a Draco, another dude had a pistol. They just something happened. It just comes on in the parking lot. He walks around the car. He pointing the gun at him. Dude they both strapped. Dude,
you jump on my bed.
I guess he put the gun down because he want to scrap. As soon as he put the gun down, dude,
get
blow
on
his
my
shit
bed,
back
bro.
with the Draco. Pop, pop, pop. Like, damn.
You jump on my bed. No, fuck you then.
So it's that other side of like a lot of crazy shit gets caught on tape. You don't know what happened. We don't know if dude raped his sister. We don't know if dude came up and there's this one video of the dude in Atlanta. Y'all see that? The one where the dude was at the mall and he had the backpack and he got into an altercation in the mall and he had a backpack. His backpack he pulled a full Draco out of his motherfucking backpack. Was like waving it around. The police came, took the gun, put him in cuffs. Seconds later, or however long later, they take the cuffs off of him, give him the gun back. The nigga puts it in his backpack and leaves. All black. The cop was black. Everybody's black. This nigga just pulled a fucking Draco out of his backpack at the mall. Like, back up, niggas. Police came, put the nigga in cuffs, figured out what was going on, took the gun, and then gave this big ass gun back to this nigga, and he walked out. What do you choose to focus on? When the video is just shocking and it feels like it's against you, or do you focus on the videos where it's completely not the case? Do you focus on the video where the police just pulled the trigger, or do you focus on the part of the video where this dude whooping that cop's ass? Right?
Jump on my big fucker.
Do you think black children are being influenced to resist more, and that is deadly? No, I don't think that. I don't think that at all.
Come on.
I think it's just we have an understanding. We've been trained through movies, through films, through video cameras, through Rodney King, through this, through that, through the narrative of the relationship with the police, the narrative that they say, the shit that comes out of police officers' mouths, the police chiefs around in little towns and countries all over the fucking world, the little hick towns with its 6 niggas on the force, and they pulling over every car that comes through the bitch looking for niggas. Like that whole narrative is real. And in some cases, it's the reverse, where kids recognize, which is even worse than resisting more. It's that you don't resist at all, right? Because resistance for you means death, right? The resistance for you means getting your ass beat. The resistance from you means getting dope put on you, or getting a fucked up case, or whatever. Even if you can throw all that shit out, you get a lawyer to come throw the shit out and beat the case and do all that. You got to spend 50 grand, 100 grand to fight this bullshit charge with this bullshit cop who's going to sit in court and lie. The judge is going to believe him because it's in the judge's best interest to believe this nigga. Like, that shit, like, that's part of the process in the program. And I think that becomes where kids are just like, I don't even want to deal with that shit. Nigga, hands up, I'm on the ground. Just do whatever the fuck you need to do so we can get the fuck over. That's for people that ain't dirty. And if you dirty, like you actually got the guns and you got the dope and you got, which is a reality for niggas. If you got the warrant, like for me, when I went to jail, I was driving and I didn't know that my license was suspended, right? And the police pulled me over. It was one time I went to jail, and the police pulled me over, way out in the middle of fucking nowhere. Police pulled me over. I'm in a Range Rover. In the town. It's some people with money, but not. It ain't like niggas just haphazardly running around. So you got this young black man in a fucking Range Rover. I was speeding. I was doing like maybe like 70, 80, something like that. But the reason I was speeding was it was April. It was what's that holiday? St. Patrick's Day. It was St. Patrick's Day. And I remember telling the cop, like, I was speeding because I want to get off the streets. I don't drink, but I know it's about that time where niggas, the bars is letting out and motherfuckers gonna be out here. I just wanted to, put an extra 10 miles on the speedometer so I can get to the fucking crib so I can be out the way. I don't want to be turned over in the ditch. Some motherfucker ran me off the road being drunk. Which is real. It's like, I'll take that L. If you catch me,
oh, this cat.
This is why.
What?
Other than that, even now, when I drive at a certain rate, I actually put on my cruise control. It's like 0 seconds. Fuck them niggas. Go ride with them. So when he pulled me over, I told him that I'm going home. My staff is ready, blah, blah, blah. He's like, why you speeding? I was like, trying to get home. Like, it's St. Patrick's Day. I don't want to be out on these fucking streets. He's like, all right, cool. So when he ran my license, back, he's like, yo, your license is suspended. You gotta come with me. And I was like, oh shit. And I didn't even know my license was suspended.
I'm gonna have to.
And the reason I didn't
record this and try it. Go another day. My cat is annoying the fuck out of me.